Hi friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. This video is going to be on the topic of manic phases. Here are 10 signs that I have dealt with in a manic phase or have experienced. And before I start with the first sign, I just want to clarify a couple of things. That A, I am not a doctor, although I have seen many over the years. And B, I am not a trained, licensed counselor or therapist. But what I am is an individual who was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 20 years ago. And after 20 years, I have found my voice to talk about this illness and the courage to start these videos to bring awareness regarding bipolar disorder to the community. So if that is something you will be interested in, along with music, please hit the subscribe button. So with that being said, let's get started. Number 1, insomnia or decreased need for sleep. For me, this is usually a telltale sign I might be entering into a manic phase. Not always the case, but a lot of times it is. Usually I will try to go to sleep and I'm just not able to. My mind will not shut off no matter what I do. You know, you can try to read, no. You can try to take a melatonin, no. You can even try to take a sleeping pill if that was prescribed to you by your doctor. A lot of times that wouldn't help me even. My mind just races and races and races, and it is so annoying. And you desperately want to go to sleep, but you just can't because you're not in that stage. During these times, what have I done? Well, I have spent a lot of time in reflection. I've spent a lot of time journaling. I've spent a lot of times songwriting. I've had some very creative moments during these times. I'm a very spiritual person, so I have had very intimate moments with God during these times, and they have been some of the best moments of my life. So I don't regret these times either. It's brought me closer to Him. But number 1, the telltale sign is decreased need of sleep. Number 2, racing thoughts. I've already made mention of this in the first point, but it is very true for me when I'm in a manic phase, and even when I'm not in a manic phase. It seems like my brain never shuts off, and that's why it's so exhausting too. Some days you're just exhausted from the time you get up before the day even starts because your brain never shuts off. But definitely during a manic phase, this intensifies greatly for me. So number 2 is racing thoughts. Number 3, agitation. It goes along with annoyance. When I enter into a manic phase, I can easily get annoyed. Just noises in general will bother me. It's like I just want quietness. So, like hearing biting on fingernails, or maybe somebody's chewing their food too loud, which normally wouldn't really bother me. But when I'm in this type of mode, I can get aggravated really, really easily. So agitation definitely increases for me during a manic phase. Four, overconfidence. There are so many times I will take something and be like, I can write a book tonight. That doesn't happen. But I'll start to write one and I won't finish it. I can do this. I have all these great grand ideas. And some of them I do follow through on. Like last year, I told myself, you know what? I'm going to write music and I'm going to write songs and I'm actually going to complete this. And I did it. And I was so proud of myself for doing that. At the same time, it helped me with going through those motions, when I was on that roller coaster last year. But we'll talk more about that in a future video to come. But you kind of think you have these superhero powers at times, and you're almost capable of doing anything. So overconfidence is another one I've experienced in a manic phase. Five, impulsive and risky behavior. I can give you a really good example of a very impulsive move I made back in my 20s. I was working for a nonprofit agency here in North Carolina, and I didn't have a very big salary at the time, but I thought I could afford a brand new Volvo S40. Who thinks that on the salary I was making at the time? I did, and I went out and purchased this new beautiful vehicle that the payments eventually caught up to me, and I had to give back the car, and my dad had to work his sales magic at the time to get me out of the deal, and we finally put me in a car that was, more affordable to what I could afford at that time. But that is a great example of making a very impulsive or risky decision that is not always the best move. Six, hopelessness. You might find yourself even feeling in this situation when you're in a manic phase. For me, I feel more of this when I fall into a bipolar depression, but I have been here before. The feeling of hopelessness also in a manic phase, and it's not a good feeling. Again, that is the reason why I am wanting to do these videos, share these videos. I want you to know that you are not alone in anything that you are going through. There are millions of people who wrestle with these thoughts and or have been diagnosed with a mental illness, and we need to be there for each other. We need to create this community and not feel like we are not able to talk about what needs to be talked about. Seven, the big W, withdrawal. This is classic for me. I withdraw in a manic phase and I withdraw in a depressive phase. It doesn't matter the phase. I don't want to be around anyone when I'm in either or. I cannot tell you how many events I have missed over the years. And if you think about it, it makes you sad. But I have missed birthdays. I have missed weddings. I have missed celebrations. I have missed Christmases. There was one year I was so severely depressed. Christmas is in December. The following May, I finally opened a couple Christmas presents that were wrapped under the tree for me that year that was stuck in the corner for, when I finally wanted to get up and be around people again. I opened them that following May. Withdrawal is huge going through a manic stage. 8, changes in your diet and appetite. For me, I can go from not eating at all, not having any kind of appetite at all, to eating the worst junk food there possibly is, and at the worst times of day. A lot of times it is late at night, which obviously is not healthy at all. It is very important to stay on a healthy diet. It really does help you in the long run, and we will cover that topic in a future video to come. 9, problems with your memory and concentration. Now, to be honest, I have this regardless if I'm in a manic phase or not. It's just when I go into the manic phase, this intensifies for me greatly. And like I mentioned before, reading goes out the window. I'm not able to concentrate on certain things, which increases your agitation too, because it's so frustrating. I love to read, and I can't stand it when I go to open a book and I'm reading, then all of a sudden I can't read it anymore. I'm rereading the same line 5, 6 times over, and eventually it just becomes too much to even deal with anymore. So, memory and concentration is very difficult when you're in a manic phase. Number 10, preoccupation with death and suicidal thoughts. If you or a loved one have suicidal ideation, please seek help immediately. Please reach out to somebody to talk to somebody. You can also call the National Suicide Prevention Line at 1-800-273-8255. You are not alone. Let me say that again. You are not alone. Thank you for joining today. Please subscribe below if you enjoyed hearing about this and these tips for yourself or a loved one. We'd love to continue to have you on this journey with us. Next week, we'll be discussing the opposite end of the spectrum, which is bipolar depression. Thanks again, and until next time, be safe, stay kind, and show love.